The third communication revolution brought upon a great change in our society. We live in an era of connectivity where almost everyone is connected to each other via the internet. Practically all aspects of life were transformed by this revolution, whether it be shipping, celebrating birthdays with friends and family, and the daily communication. Yet most people tend to forget that this level of access on the web is permitted by internet service providers. Internet service providers, or ISPs, provide the gateway that gives people the ability to access the website in its entirety. A good way to think of internet access is to visualize the internet as a giant tunnel with many different tubes running through it. These different tubes can be called bandwidth, which is the amount of information that can be transferred across the web, representing the core of internet access. Each tube belongs to a consumer and represents the amount of data a person has access to. Theoretically, the web has a limit to how much information can pass through it, hence the need for a data cap. But in practice, the tunnel representing the internet is big enough to support internet access for all of humanity. Almost all traffic on the internet will have to pass through ISPs and get approved by them in order for it to be sent back to consumers. This is how we access different social media such as Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. That means that ISPs have complete control over users' access to the internet, such as the speed of the connection and the type of website a person has access to, and that means they know everything there is to know about a user, including their own privacy. It is no surprise that the internet is one of the fastest growing and most earning industries in the world, given that so much of humanity participates in it, be it through online shopping, whether it be stock market exchanges, or purely business transactions. And herein lies the problem. ISPs exist to make money, and they are given full control of the internet, including the ability to direct the strength of a person's connection to the World Wide Web. Companies had and will continue to throttle customers' connection in order to offer an incentive to get the customer to purchase a higher tier of internet access, thereby generating more profit and revenue. This is why net neutrality is quintessential to the freedom of the open web. Net neutrality is the principle that ISPs are to treat all internet traffic equally, and they cannot discriminate a person's level of access based off the user themselves, the content they're browsing. This includes the website, the platform, the application, the type of equipment they're using to browse the internet on, their source address like the nation they're coming from, their destination access like where the website is located, and the method of access, be it mobile, PC, or through other types of internet access. Essentially, net neutrality is a principle that keeps the internet free for everyone in terms of communication and access. ISPs cannot censor content from the consumer, nor can they attempt to interfere with a person's level of access. Imagine a scenario where companies can restrict access to a major service on the internet until a person pays more money for that restriction to be released. Imagine them doing to different news organizations or online shopping sites. It is effectively censorship that caters to only the rich and powerful. As a matter of fact, ISPs drawing connection extend past consumers and into public services such as firefighters. In 2018, firefighters in California found that their connection was throttled by Verizon during an emergency response dispatch to combat a severe wildfire that threatened countless houses in that area. Despite the fact that the firefighters purchased an unlimited plan and rarely used even a 200 for the plan, Verizon throttled the connection, and as a result, the firefighter accused Verizon that this had hampered and restricted communication amongst their units, and possibly was a factor that even contributed to the death of a fellow firefighter that was fighting the Menchino complex fire. This throttling will have damaged an essential service and put people in unnecessary danger, especially since it was throttled during a time where fighters needed the most to fight one of the worst wildfires in history. Notice that this occurred right after net neutrality was repealed by the FCC, which begs the question. If ISPs are allowed to throttle their internet use of essential services like firefighters, where does that place the consumers? This is why net neutrality is so important. They ensure that ISPs cannot unfairly restrict internet access to anyone, be it blocking a certain service on the web to slowing down a person's connection. Imagine a world where a corporation can dictate what a person can see on our internet and lock content behind a paywall, effectively unregulated capitalism. Net neutrality is a preventive measure to ensure that corporations cannot censor the internet and throttle connection in an era where disconnectivity could be the difference between life and death.